Breaking right now, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle spent the week using the With Love Meghan promotional campaign to try and suggest that everything is rosy in their very, very rocky marriage. Not so fast, says Radar Online, which has revealed that the Sussex couple are now sleeping in separate beds. Let me take you through this bombshell, then we're going to get reaction from the royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz. Here's the report, though, from Radar Online. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's marriage is said to be under major strain as backlash has gotten under the Duchess's skin so much that she's sleeping apart from her husband and wondering whether or not she would be more popular on her own, Radar Online can reveal. Amid ongoing rumours about the Sussexes' marriage being on the rocks, insiders told us Markle is cracking under the pressure of public scrutiny as she tries to claw her way back into Hollywood and launch her lifestyle brand, leaving her marriage to Harry hanging by a thread. Insiders told us Markle is starting to unravel and wonder if she would be better off as a solo act. Meghan is said to have even started to look up divorce lawyers. Sources claimed Harry was confronted by his unhappy wife, who blamed him for recent issues in a spat witnessed by others. Another insider said her marriage to Harry made her an international figure. People believe if she walks, it will be with a big bag of money and her royal title. She will be set for life and ready for a return to Hollywood. As Radar Online reported, sources claim Meghan was eyeing a similar deal to Sarah Ferguson's divorce from Prince Andrew should she end her marriage to the royal. The insider revealed Meghan has made it clear that if and when they do split, she would demand a hefty settlement and to keep her royal title. She won't go anywhere unless it's with a title, property, and a huge sack of money. Meghan will make a deal to protect herself. Wow. Tasha is with me now.
Yeah.
This is astonishing, but remember, it comes just weeks after that Vanity Fair bombshell that Meghan is already shopping the post-divorce book to publishers.
All right, folks, we've been hearing rumors for months, but now it looks like Meghan and Harry's marriage is really falling apart. A shocking new report from Radar Online claims that Meghan is sleeping in a separate bed and has already started consulting divorce lawyers. Insiders say Meghan is blaming Harry for her failed Hollywood comeback and is now rethinking her entire future without him. And the most shocking part? She's allegedly demanding a massive payout and refusing to give up her royal title. Let's break it all down. So, let's start with the biggest shocker. Multiple sources have confirmed that Meghan and Harry are no longer sharing a bed. According to insiders, Meghan is cracking under pressure and wants space from Harry. Think about it. If everything was fine, why would they be sleeping separately? This is not normal behavior for a happy couple. This is a sign of a relationship on the edge of collapse. And let's not forget, this isn't the first time we've heard about trouble in paradise. 4 months, Meghan has been making solo PR moves, ditching Harry at major events and desperately trying to relaunch her brand without him. Could this be the first step in a permanent separation?
Yes, I mean, we've had articles come out ever since that they got married. They'd last a year, they'd last 2 years, but I think it's really ramped up over the last 6 months, maybe less than that. I can't remember when we had the first expose by the Hollywood Reporter, swiftly followed then by Vanity Fair, the people that work for them. This is not speculation. These are not royal experts or royal watchers that are speculating on social media. These are actual people that know them that have come forward. And I believe the divorce book to be true. And I can't help but feel that they do look very strained when you have seen them. And there's been an extra big push that Meghan is back in her honeymoon phase with Harry. And like we discussed a couple of weeks ago, Dan, you know, there's photos that were of the Invictus Games when they didn't realise the cameras were on them. The moment that they realised, right, okay, game face on, it's all smiles and kisses and lovey-dovey. But the reality seems to be very different. And that picture you showed me earlier with Paula M that had pointed that out, yeah, he just seems disconnected. He seemed very disconnected here. He seemed disconnected at the Invictus Games, and there's something about him. you're not seeing the light in his eyes anymore. He seems, like I said, he looks like an extra on set. He talks to her and they have a laugh, but there's just definitely something missing with Harry. He does seem like he's checked out, as it were. So seeing all of these stories now circulating, the more they try and push their love story, the more it looks like I think that there might genuinely be issues that are becoming bigger and bigger between them.
Oh, indeed. But the thing is, he is trapped to an extent. There is no easy way out because remember, even though he wants to spend more time in the UK, he knows full well that if he goes through with a divorce, there's no taking the children. And that was always the sinister reason why she was so desperate to get these two, even though they remain in the line of succession. That's a whole other story. I don't think they should be, but there you go. Even though they remain in the line of succession, she was so desperate to get them to California, have them be raised with little American accents, as she confirmed they were to Drew Barrymore earlier this week. So I think he is in trouble. But what is fascinating is, look, there's a drumbeat of these reports. Remember, the Mail reported just a few weeks ago that Harry was back in touch with a lot of his friends who he had previously iced out, talking about the need to reconnect with his past. And Harry would have read that Vanity Fair article. He reads everything. And no matter how many reassurances Meghan may have given him that she wasn't shopping a post-divorce book to publishers, Harry is not stupid when it comes to the media. He knows there's no chance Vanity Fair is going to run that story unless it is copper-bottomed accurate. So once you learn that your own wife is doing that, Tash, surely that's when you start to feel a little small.
Now let's talk about why Meghan is pulling away from Harry. According to sources, she is furious that her Netflix show is flopping and that Hollywood isn't welcoming her back with open arms. And guess what? She's blaming Harry. Insiders say Meghan expected to be the next Gwyneth Paltrow or Oprah, but instead, she's getting mocked for her fake lifestyle expert persona. People aren't buying it, her show isn't performing, and now she's wondering if she'd be more successful without Harry holding her back. This is exactly what Radar Online is reporting. Meghan is now questioning whether she'd be better off as a solo act. And let's be real, we saw this coming from a mile away. From the moment Meghan entered Harry's life, she's been strategic about her moves. Now, she's realizing that he's no longer useful to her career.
Yeah, I'd imagine he's got to be thinking at the back of his mind, it can't just be a smear campaign orchestrated by my family all the way over in the UK now. And that's the line she's always pushed, isn't it? She's always been a victim that she sells to the media. It's people bullying her. But this is, like you said, the calls are coming from inside the house this time. And it's getting very, very real. And I can't help but feel that he is beginning to realise that he misses his old life a lot. It must wear down on him. I mean, ego was part of the reasons where there started big tears in Charles and Diana's marriage, and you are seeing it all play out over again. You can see that Harry's taken a step back, the way he looks at her sometimes, even when they were in Nigeria and Colombia, when Meghan's talking, you can just see his brain slowly but surely is beginning to process, this may have not been the best decision that I've made in my life. But his ego is never going to allow him to admit that. So I wonder how this is going to play out and how long it's going to drag on for.
Well, look, she has absolutely been on one hell of a publicity campaign when it comes to Harry, using With Love Meghan on Netflix, using the promo tour to try and hit back at Vanity Fair. And actually, I think that was something really interesting about With Love that maybe has been, it's gone a little bit under the radar, Tash, you might say, because obviously there were so many other horrors. But she was so desperate to use this show to hit back at what she considers the unfair headlines in the likes of the Vanity Fair article, in the likes of Variety and the Hollywood Reporter. So you see her very often breaking down what Hollywood calls the fifth wall, and she brings the crew in to the conversation because what she wants to show is, I'm really nice to the people who I work with. You see, I even give them a chicken wing. I even give them one of Roy Choi's chicken wings. So I think this show is desperately designed to hit back in a subtle way at the critics.
It's pretty obvious, as I said, now that I'm binge watching it and watching it back to back, you can see that. One of Meghan's biggest problems is she's always done clapbacks, whether it's an interview, whether it's a podcast. She cannot handle anybody saying anything negative about her without trying to get her way back in and saying, actually, this isn't true. The moment I saw her hug like some of the Netflix crew straight after a couple of weeks after the world being reminded that she's a terrible, awful person to work for, and then she's like, oh, look, I'm lovely, come here, I'll make you a coffee, have a crudité, have a piece of chicken. And it's pretty obvious that she is trying to use this to rebrand her image, but she's done so many rebrands. People are not buying what she's selling.
We are not buying what she's selling. Absolutely not. By the way, my producer Jessie has just told me it's the fourth wall, not the fifth wall, in case anyone picked up on that. That's a concept that they use in television, sort of when you bring in the crew, or I guess it was done because, you know, the fourth wall, like when you're filming on a TV set and you only have three walls. Anyway.
I did wonder, that was when Mindy was said, I'm breaking the fourth wall, because she offered, I think, a ladybug or a ladybird to the crew. Yes.
And that big debate, which hasn't rocked the world.
No.
Now, Tash, we're seeing the public really, really change, especially in the UK, when it comes to the positioning of Harry and Meghan. There was a hilarious moment, which again has gone under the radar, when Prince William actually visited a school this week.
And this is where things get messy, because according to sources, Meghan has already started looking up divorce lawyers. All right, folks, this is where things get explosive. According to Radar Online, Meghan has already begun laying the groundwork for a divorce. And let's just say she's not planning to walk away empty-handed. Insiders say Meghan wants a massive financial settlement, similar to the deal Sarah Ferguson got when she divorced Prince Andrew. She wants money, property, and most importantly, she refuses to give up her Duchess of Sussex title. And let's be clear, this isn't about love or marriage anymore. This is about power. Meghan knows that without her royal title she has nothing. She can't just go back to being Meghan Markle. She needs that Duchess branding to stay relevant.
And listen to what the public shouted out to him as he left.
Yeah, mate. Go on, Will. I never liked Harry, the ginger fuck.
Oi!
Wait,
Get in there now.
Oh,
inside.
my.
That's
Oh,
that was diabolical.
Wait, what did you say? What did you say?
So I never liked Harry, the ginger F. Now, look, obviously, crude language, but it's interesting, isn't it, that this is now sort of starting to come into royal life. And of course, Tash, we have had those growing calls this week for Charles and William to say, hang on a moment, Meghan's embarrassing us. Strip the titles. Take the kids out of the line of succession. Otherwise, this is just going to get worse. And actually, the royal brand is being demeaned.
It is. Many people said this for years. They said it, you know, Oprah was one thing, but then after Netflix and then Spare, they should have done it then, because they would have had all the more reason to do it then. And it's almost like, well, if they do it now, Meghan's going to easily twist this. It will become a great big drama. They will say that it's to do with racism. And to be honest with you, I think all of the stories that they will make up, I think the public now know that they're just talking crap. Harry and Meghan are disliked for their own behaviour, for the things that they do. But I think the royals are done with them. They don't want to give them the drama. I think Harry definitely shouldn't have his dukedom anymore. He's always going to be a prince. I don't see that he should have it. He and Meghan spent a total of 5 hours in Sussex. You know, it's crazy the fact that they're living in America, they're bringing up their children in America. You don't need the dukedom anymore. It doesn't benefit you. The dukedom was more like a job title as being part of the functioning cogs that are the monarchy. They quit the job. They should have taken the titles. They should have done it then. There's multiple times that they should have done it. But I think the royals just don't want to create another storm. But it is beginning to look bad on them in some ways, because Meghan is just a total embarrassment with that title. But then she's going to be, even if they take the dukedom, maybe she's got wind that they might take the dukedom, hence the push for Meghan Sussex.
Yeah, indeed. And I still believe there's a real thing about she doesn't want to be a Markle. Why does she want to be connected to her father, her brother, and her sister, who she just decided to so brutally right out of With Love Meghan? Oh, by the way, with a whole load of digs. You know, I was just a latchkey kid. Oh, I was eating takeaways on my lap and TV meals every night. I mean, absolute bullshit, number one. Absolute bullshit. Yes. We had Sam on the show, Sam Markle on the show earlier this week. Really recommend people watch that episode from Wednesday. But I also watched an interview with Thomas Markle Jr. and Kevin O'Sullivan. And it's just not true. Her dad, Thomas Markle, was an Emmy Award-winning lighting director. They went to some of the best restaurants in California. I mean, why? She's totally misrepresented her life. And I think what she's done to the Markles is cruel. But we know this is the reason why she wants to get rid of the Markle name.
Yeah, she's definitely, there are a few digs that I've picked up on already, and I'm sure there's obviously going to be more in the remaining episodes, but it's just crazy that Meghan thinks the world is stupid, because she herself spoke about how my dad used to send the limo to come pick me up, to take me straight from school to the film studios where I'd hang around with the actors and do my homework, and then he'd take me to the most expensive steak and milkshake place. And here she is years later still trying to do this orphan Annie storyline that she tries to push. And the fact that she has also brought up the TIG again recently, it was her own posts on the TIG praising her family, praising her father. And here she is just pretending that my father doesn't exist. My mum took care of me. And then, the digs about the TV dinners, that had me laughing. She really does just rewrite history over and over and over. And she's taught her husband how to do it as well.
So what's her strategy? She's making it clear that if she walks, she's taking everything with her. Her title, her money, and possibly even control over their children. That's how calculated Meghan is. And let's not forget, Vanity Fair recently reported that Meghan is already shopping around a post-divorce tell-all book. Yes, you heard that right. She's preparing to sell her side of the story before the split has even happened. If that's not proof that she's ready to leave, I don't know what is. And now the big question. Is Meghan just biding her time before making her grand exit? Let's look at the pattern.
She does. I just think, Tash, though, there is such a cruelty with what she's done to her dad. Like, look, especially I know Thomas Markle Jr. and I know Samantha. They're great people. I mean, Thomas is hilarious. Sam is such a good woman. You know she's a regular here and outspoken.
Yeah.
They can deal with it. I mean, I loved their response. Sam revealed on Wednesday, guess what, Meghan? We're going to change our names. So we're going to be Thomas Sussex and Samantha Sussex. And I just thought, that's funny. That's the way to deal with this. But that's not how Thomas Markle Sr. feels. No. He remains devastated. He's recovering from his stroke. Exactly. And I just think not only are you throwing your dad under the bus here, saying that he's a bad parent. By the way, when he was there when Doria wasn't, can we just remind people of that? He was there for all of those missing years when Doria decided to slink off somewhere. He was making the money. He gave you your start in showbiz. And how do you repay him? By rewriting your childhood to make it look as if you were some poverty-stricken woman. You weren't. Trust me. The Emmy Award lighting directors on top Hollywood shows in the 1990s, Tash, made a lot of money and had a very good life. And believe me, if I'd been growing up and I got to go to the set of Married with Children and General Hospital and hang out with all of the celebrities and eat the food on set, I would have been delighted. So she is such a witch when it comes to her dad. I'm sorry she is. I have to say it.
No, I totally agree with you. I think it's very cruel. And I've never really warmed to her over the fact that she just iced him out, didn't even have the decency to ring him and say, Dad, I'm not talking to you anymore. I can't do this. Not anything. She cut him out. And he's never even had a conversation with her on the phone. And when you look back on it, because he did some pack pictures that she and Harry have done and continue to do. She did it before the wedding. She did it in the run up to the wedding. Since Harry's done it as well. He's done pack strolls himself in California, and he's admonished Thomas and allowed this to continue. And it's the children are never going to get to know their grandfathers at this rate, obviously, with King Charles with his ongoing cancer, and then Thomas Markle being so ill. These men are not in their early 60s and fit and healthy. There's, a very good chance that they may never get to meet these grandchildren. I think that's sad for the children as well as the adults to never know their grandfathers. But yeah, I think she is a witch when it comes to her father, definitely. It's very sad.
Now, there was another big mistake that Harry made this week, and Tash, I did just think this guy is so stupid. So he attends a conference, one of these ludicrous conferences, right, of entrepreneurs and everything, where he's only there because he's being paid big buck. He's probably been paid a six-figure sum, which just, it makes me sick. That feels so morally wrong. But he decides to make a not-so-veiled attack on Donald Trump and Elon Musk, telling these investors that some world leaders are currently lacking basic morals and empathy, and say that they have abandoned those morals and empathy in favor of power and control. Now, number one, how stupid is he? Like, Trump holds your future in his hands. Can you just not help yourself? I mean, Niall Gardner, who's obviously the guy from the Heritage Foundation, who is leading this brilliant work to allow the public to know the truth about whether Harry lied on his immigration documents, posted, even for Prince Harry, this is an exceptionally dumb move. Prince Harry makes veiled attack on Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Now, of course, again, it's sort of got a little bit overshadowed, Tash, by what was going on with Trump and Zelensky, etc., etc. But he's got to be careful, because if he's going to continue this sort of rhetoric, then at some point Trump might just say, hell no, you're gone.
Meghan rode the royal wave for as long as she could. She got the wedding, the international fame, the Netflix and Spotify deals. But now, those deals are drying up and Harry is no longer an asset, he's a liability. This is exactly why sources believe Meghan is strategically setting up her exit. She's making sure she has financial security, a powerful PR plan, and most importantly, control over her royal title. And let's be honest, Meghan is not the type to stay in a situation that doesn't benefit her. If she thinks she can make more money and have more power without Harry, she will leave. And based on this new report, it's already happening.
Well, maybe just a real plot twist here. Maybe that's what he's up to. He doesn't have the balls to leave his wife, so now he's going to try and antagonize Trump so he kicks him out the country.
Exactly. Please kick me out. Please deport me, Trump, because I can't spend another minute with that woman. Look, I would believe that, Tash, if it wasn't the kids. And remember, he doesn't want to be, does he, on the other side of the world from his two apparent children.
No, it's he's got himself into a situation, and it's a case of, you made your bed, you got to lie in it. But I do find it bizarre that he keeps sticking his head above the parapet, and it is like he's trying to antagonize Donald Trump. He will kick you out. When you think of the decisions that Donald Trump's made since he's come into power, just ticking a box for Harry to say, do you know what, fine, just tell Border Force to kick him out the country, drag him out, I don't care anymore. It's, I don't know why Harry keeps trying to antagonize him, because it will eventually, I'd say, bite him in the butt. But
there's a certain arrogance to it, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely.
And some people did think Trump was hitting back at Prince Harry in his speech to Congress this week, where he spoke about, oh God, I'm going to mispronounce it. So Lesotho, the African country that Harry spends a lot of time in and has supported a lot. And Trump made a throwaway comment about Lesotho, sort of saying no one's heard of that country. And it did feel like a surprising coincidence, Tash. Do you think that was Trump making a direct dig?
He might have done. I think it's Lesotho. I think I got corrected on that once.
Sorry,
But yeah, it's one of those words, isn't it? You're like, I've been corrected so many times. Am I saying it the right way or the wrong way? But regardless.
I feel so stupid. I knew I was going to say it wrong. Lesotho.
No, I mean, I might still be wrong. I'm sure someone will correct us in the comments. They'll be like, you're both wrong. You're both stupid.
But I'm sort of proving Trump's point, right? Which is that no one has actually heard of this place. So, because this was all about Doge and Elon Musk and why are we giving millions and millions of dollars to some sort of project in Lesotho. Lesotho.
It could be that because he's very aware of the things that Harry and Meghan have said about him. He's been aware of every nasty thing. That's why he called her terrible. The mainstream media leave that out. The fact that he said, oh, I don't like her, she's nasty. He was saying that because she said nasty things about him. And they always seem to leave that bit out. So I think he's very aware of every time that Harry thinks he's being clever and he comes out with a little swipe when he's got a microphone in his hand. And it might well have been. It might well have been.
Tash, obviously, given all of the negative headlines again about Harry and Meghan this week because of With Love Meghan, and let's be honest, the headlines, the reviews have been totally brutal across the board.
Yeah.
This isn't connected to one particular group politically. It's just all round disastrous reviews.
Yeah.
How do the royal family feel about this? How do they deal with the fact, okay, Charles has clearly made a decision. We're not going to strip the titles. We're not going to remove Archie and Lilibet from the line of succession. But how do they deal with this Harry and Meghan monster, which isn't going away and which does significantly cheapen their brand?
So let's break it down. Meghan and Harry are sleeping apart. Meghan is blaming Harry for her failed Hollywood career. She's secretly consulting divorce lawyers and making it clear she won't leave without a fortune and her title. No. She's already preparing to cash in on a post-divorce tell-all book. Meghan and Harry are sleeping apart. Marriage on the verge of collapse. Meghan is blaming Harry for her failures. Is she done with him? Divorce lawyers have already been contacted. What's Meghan's next move? Meghan is demanding money, property, and her royal title. She's playing a calculated game.
I don't know. I'm on the fence with this one myself. I think the royals and what they do is so incredibly different. People like to say that Harry and Meghan are damaging the royal family's brand. I personally don't see that. I see their popularity going up as Harry and Meghan's has gone into a complete free fall. It's a nosedive. It is a plane crash. I mean, and yes, I don't think that Harry should be able to act as a counsellor of state, but I think that they've managed to do it in such a way without stripping his titles. I still feel that there is a bit of pussyfooting around when it comes to Harry because I think they do want to keep the door open for him if he ever leaves Meghan. But I don't think that they're even playing the same game anymore. And Harry and Meghan are an embarrassment. They're like cartoon caricatures of themselves. They are now, Meghan especially, with going back onto Instagram, she is that character in South Park. So I don't think that they're actually damaging the royal brand. Harry's always going to have that connection to his father. But I do think that they should have done something with the titles, even just putting them into abeyance. They could have done something. But I honestly don't know how or what they've got to do before the king or Prince William. It might very well change when he becomes king because he's not going to have his father there saying, well, we should, let my darling boy get away with this. It's going to be very interesting to see whether it will change when William becomes king. But at the moment, I can't see that.
Well, indeed, I think it will change when William becomes king. That is the first thing. And given Charles's grave health issues, bless him, but it could happen sooner than maybe even William hoped for, or certainly sooner than he hoped for. And I think all bets are off at that point for Harry. Charles seems to be more concerned about the money situation at the moment. He just doesn't want Harry and Meghan running out of money. So he would certainly, in some ways, greet a new Netflix deal, but that then means another round of embarrassment. I think the thing that probably grips the royal family with the most fear is the idea of Meghan Markle's biography, because she has threatened, remember, for a number of years now. Think back to that interview in The Cut, for example, where she very strategically revealed, and this is when the late Queen Elizabeth II was still alive, quite unwell, so it was particularly revolting, but she dropped in, oh, I've kept all my diaries from that period. That was all about, let's get the book deal offer up. So I think certainly there are potential concerns in the future, but it's almost like no scenario is good. Sure, Harry and Meghan doing such an embarrassing, terrible job elevates William and Catherine to some extent, because we look at the work that they're doing. It's so altruistic. It's very much focused on others. It's not a sideshow. It's not a soap opera. So I guess you can look at it in that way. But I still personally think until the cord is properly cut and the royal family stop allowing Harry and Meghan to trade off their brand, their success, personally, I do think it's a negative thing for the royal family.
Yeah, I mean, with regards to her Netflix show and Instagram, you know, just let her get on with it. She embarrasses herself. But when it comes to them being treated like royalty, when they go to Nigeria, when they go to Colombia, with Harry, with the First Nations, it's a very touchy subject. And he said, didn't he, at Invictus, there was a conversation that he had where he said, you know, I will make sure that this communication gets opened again, that, you know, these subjects are discussed. And it's like, Harry is not acting on behalf of the crown. He is not a politician. He's not a statesman. But because he is Prince Harry, he's having conversations like that are picked up by people, that is run through mainstream media. And that's where I think that they do get into dangerous waters. When they start weighing into the Commonwealth countries with politics, that is where the dukedom, I think they do realistically need to think about whether they're going to let them keep it. And as I said, perhaps this is why Meghan got wind of it. And this is why there's a sudden push of, I'm Meghan Sussex, the children of Sussex. We're the Sussex family. And it's, no, you're not. You're Mountbatten Windsor. But it could explain as to why she started pushing that.
At this point, it's not a matter of if, but when. Is this the final sign that Meghan Markle is about to dump Prince Harry? And will she take everything with her? Asterisk, asterisk. So now the big question, do you think Meghan will leave Harry? Will she demand a huge payout? And should the royal family finally strip her of her Sussex title before she can cash in on it? Let me know in the comments.